Friends, in the Gospel, we heard a holy event that took place on the road to Emmaus. Let us then reflect on the beautiful imagery present in this encounter with the risen Lord. The Gospel tells us that on their way to Emmaus, a village 7 miles away from Jerusalem, the two disciples were conversing and debating about all the things that had just occurred, namely, the horrific crucifixion of their Master and his astounding resurrection. While they were at it, Jesus drew near to them, joined them on their way, and asked them what it was that they were talking about. Then the two, looking upset, related to him what had happened. This is the first image, my dear friends. In his apostolic letter titled Mane Nobiscum Domine, Pope John Paul II put it this way: the risen Lord always comes to us, listens to us, and meets us always on the road that He may lead us to the way, who is Jesus Christ Himself. It is He who called these two disciples. It is He who walked with them, illuminating their minds and fostering communion with them, which leads us to the succeeding images. After He had listened to their narration, the risen Lord, whom they had not recognized as yet, explained to them what had happened as a fulfillment of the Scriptures. Jesus listens to us, speaks to us, and provides meaning for all that we have in our hearts, especially when we are discouraged, like the two disciples. He comes to us, provides light to the confused mind, heightens the senses, strengthens the will, and fills up the heart. And this light comes from His Word. And this is the second image. In the experience of the two disciples, Jesus interpreted to them what referred to Him in all the Scriptures. And gradually, the light coming from His Word cast out the cloud of sadness and desperation that hindered them from recognizing the Lord. Then they expressed what their hearts started to desire, namely, that He may remain with them. Stay with us, Lord. From the light coming from the Word, we have another image, communion. Along the way, He progressively revealed Himself to the two disciples until their eyes were opened and they recognized Him through the breaking of the bread. After their minds and hearts had been illumined and their hearts warmed by His Word, the gesture or signs now spoke to them. But why did the breaking of the bread enable them to fully recognize the risen Lord? They remembered what He had said and done in the Last Supper, the meal of love and communion. Now, what happened to the two after this extraordinary event? Their hearts spiritually became one. The risen Lord does not only foster communion with us, but also communion with our brothers and sisters. They explained to one another, were not our hearts burning within us while He spoke to us on the way and opened the Scriptures to us? With Jesus in their hearts, they now turn to the other disciples. He makes Himself one with us. He makes us one with our brothers and sisters, and this leads us to mission, the last image. After their encounter with the risen Lord, they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem. They recounted and shared to the other disciples what had happened. Having experienced the risen one And having been nourished by His Word in communion, how could one not share with others? The encounter with the risen Lord and His love and mercy impel us to proclaim the good news of His resurrection. Now you might ask, what is the relevance of the Emmaus encounter to the Eucharist? In the Eucharist, the Lord calls and meets us the way He did the two disciples. The Emmaus encounter happens again and again. In the liturgy of the Word, the Lord opens to us the Scripture, and through the homily explains His mystery to us. And in the liturgy of the Eucharist, the Lord breaks the bread with us, inviting us to be in communion with Him and with our brothers and sisters. Lastly, in the Eucharist, we are being sent out to mission, that is, to proclaim Jesus, to love and serve the Lord and one another. That's why the priest ends with the commissioning, Ite missa est. Go forth, the Mass is ended. There you go, my dear friends. Do not forget to attend and participate in the Mass today. I pray that, like the two disciples, our minds may be illumined and our hearts warmed, moving us to proclaim the risen Lord to people around us.